In this problem, we are given three functions, f, g, and h. And we want to evaluate another function that uses two or possibly even three of these functions. So let's start with evaluating f times g of 1. So f times g of 1 means f of 1 times g of 1. So f of 1 tells me to replace the x in function f with the number 1. G of 1 tells me to replace the x in function g with the number 1. So let's do that and carefully write down what's going on. So f of 1 would be negative 3 times 1, and then times g of 1 would be the absolute value of 1 minus 5. And then we need to evaluate this. So in other words, do the arithmetic following the order of operations. So negative 3 times 1 is negative 3 times the absolute value of 1 minus 5 is negative 4. And we know that the absolute value of negative 4 is positive 4 because absolute value really means the distance from negative 4 to 0 on a number line, and that's 4 steps. So we have negative 3 times positive 4, and I could keep the parentheses around those, but it's okay to drop them at that point. So negative 3 times 4 makes negative 12. So let's do another problem using these same functions. So let's make this a little smaller, move it to the side, and this time let's evaluate g divided by h of, let's do 4. So again, you have to know what the notation means in order to be successful with these functions. Function notation is telling you basically what to do if you learn how to read it. So g divided by h of 4 means, and by the way, you could have parentheses around this or not. Some books use the parentheses all the time. Some books don't use parentheses around that, but it still means the same thing. So g of 4 divided by h of 4 is what that means. So g of 4, I would replace the x in function g with the number 4. So that would turn into the absolute value of 4 minus 5. And then h of 4, we would replace the x in function h with the number 4. So that would be 2 over 4 minus 3. So let's start simplifying this, following the order of operations. So that's going to be the absolute value of negative 1 for this numerator, and the denominator is 2 divided by 1, which is just 2. So the absolute value of negative 1 is positive 1. 2 divided by 1 is 2, so our answer to that one is 1/2. Now, let's do one more. Let's do f divided by h, and this time let's do let's do 6. So f divided by h of 6 means f of 6 divided by h of 6. So f of 6, I replace the x in function f with a 6. So that's negative 3 times 6 for our numerator. And then h of 6 would be 2 over 6 minus 3. So we need to simplify. Let me make a little barrier here because I'm getting a little crowded. So negative 3 times 6 is a negative 18 divided by 2 thirds. 6 minus 3 makes 3 there. So then when you divide by a fraction, you need to remember that dividing by a fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal or invert and multiply, whichever is the way you learn to say that to yourself. So it turns into negative 18 times 3 over 2. That 2 looks terrible, doesn't it? Let's try that. Make that a little better. I'm getting too close to the bottom of the page. Let me make this a little smaller. Okay, so I can clean that up a bit then. So there's my 2. So since 2 divides into 18 and makes 9, we have a negative 9 times the 3 here. Negative 9 times 3. So negative 9 times 3 makes negative 27. So follow the order of operations as you're simplifying the arithmetic, and as long as you understand what the notation means, these shouldn't be too bad. Hope that helps.